I'm here at CEA-Leti with the CEO Sebastien Dauvé. Hello, Sebastien. How are you?
Hello. Fine, thank you. And you?
Good. So Leti does the Innovation Days every year, and it's an amazing sort of portrayal of all the technologies that you're working on, that you're coming up with, and some of the things that you're doing with partners and other organizations. But before we get into that, just tell me a little bit about your background. You've been here 20 years.
Yes.
And it's been a journey for you, and now CEO. Tell me about that journey.
So I had the opportunity of joining CEA-Leti 20 years ago exactly. And yes, it was a great achievement, and I still have a great passion and pride in belonging to this prestigious institute.
Right.
And it is proven this year by our Leti Innovation Days, because we have many partners who come across the world, of course France, but also Europe, Asia, Japan, and US, of course.
I think you said 21 nationalities yesterday.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And what's your sense of pride being with Leti? What's the thing that drives you?
First of all, the teams. We have wonderful teams, a great level of expertise, but also technicians who are really good at processing tools, because we have many tools. We have a big clean room, more than 11 square meters, able to process 200 and 300 millimeter process line, and we will acquire a new building.
We heard all about that yesterday. And
great building, state of the art,
yes.
Able to accommodate extreme UV tool if we acquire extreme UV, and so this is a good combination of expertise and process, which makes that many players, industrial players, come to here today.
And I think in the interview with my colleague, I think before Leti Days, you talked about the exciting time it is in the technology semiconductor industry.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that excitement. What excites you right now?
It's both exciting and also frightening time for a semiconductor. Exciting because we are at the heart of the world today. Everyone has understood that the semiconductor was really important for everything. Yeah. And it is also a frightening time because, as you know, tension between US and China are a bit growing. And so today, I think France and Europe has understood that the CEA-Leti was a very important institute to address sovereignty concerns. And this is today our responsibility to propose very ambitious programs that will sustain the sovereignty of Europe. And of course, we want to go on to work with our partners around the world.
So I was going to come to that at last, but I'll come now actually to that point about ecosystems and partners. So how important is that? Because you're part of Silicon Europe, but also you've got partnerships with ST Microelectronics, Global Foundries. How important is that, and what are the challenges?
Yes, the first pillar of our strategy is really to support our ecosystem, French ecosystem, so ITEC, of course, ST, but other players such as Murata, Linred, and so on and so forth. And so we have incentive coming from the French state in order to support these players. But we more and more we have many partnerships around the world, more for let's say diversified application, not for leading edge, as you know. Even if we have also interesting technologies for leading edge. And
yes.
For example, we have press release with Intel last week and yesterday,
yes.
That show that we are also able to bring things to this area. But yes, our focus is really to support our French partners, and then of course we are able to have other partnerships. It is really interesting for the ecosystem that we are able also to work with, for example, US partners,
yes.
And for example with end users. And when they come to Leti, in fact, they visit our neighbors, and they see that we have a very interesting ecosystem.
That's very good. Tell me, I think some of the trends from yesterday, from this week, this year's Leti Innovation Days, I felt was around sustainable computing and technologies to enable that sustainable computing, because we're lots of data, lots of connected devices. I think several speakers said it and then talked about how, I think one speaker talked about how if you double the amount of something, it's the amount of energy for the country the size of Portugal. I think it was quite interesting. But yeah, there is quite a challenge, isn't there,
yes,
to do this sustainable computing.
Clearly, and this is a big concern also for our teams and for myself personally. We are convinced that we will have to reduce drastically the consumption of connectivity. This is the reason why today we have an important program on 6G. And we also want to reduce the power consumption at the edge level and also at sensing level. And this is why we have also a big focus on, let's say, reducing the consumption of embedded computing, microcontroller and so on. And we are pretty sure that we will have to change the fundamental architecture, which consumes too much today. And this is why we try also to mimic the brain, for example, which is a good example, and nature now is really a good example.
Exactly.
So we have to follow this.
Yeah, we had a very good talk from a biologist yesterday.
Yes.
And I think what's quite interesting is 3 or 4 years ago when I was at Leti Innovation Days, you had a CTO, I think she was talking about, a chief scientist, she was talking about biomimicry as well. So how far are we with that, do you think?
Yes, for me it's the future. And as you said, we began this work, let's say, not 10 years, but 7 years ago. So now we will have the first result. And I'm pretty sure that we will be able to have perhaps the first chip in, let's say, 5 years.
With very low power consumption. Very good. So tell me, what are the things that you see coming over the next year from the work that's been happening over the last few years, or things that have been presented at Leti Innovation Days and generally?
So for us, the big focus for the next years will be clearly the FD-SOI.
Okay.
Because we have the responsibility to prepare the next generation of FD-SOI.
That's 10 nanometers.
10 nanometers,
okay.
That's right. Today, ST will prepare the 18 nanometer node with embedded PCM, phase change memory. And as you know, GlobalFoundries is today producing 22 nanometer. And so we will prepare the next generation, will arrive on the market by 2030. And we have, so it's time to begin and to start. And so we have collaboration, of course, and discussion with Soitec, GlobalFoundries, and ST in order to drive our development in the best way.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you the last question. I don't like to ask CEOs what's their favourite, but what's the thing? What's your pet project, or something that you really like that's going on right now?
Very difficult. Probably the fact to mimic the nature.
Yeah.
This is for me the most exciting project we have today.
Well, Sebastien, thank you very much.